On my agenda is appointment of chairperson. I'll be chairing today's meeting. So can I welcome you all to today's meeting of Cabinet. Just usual house rules that today's meeting will be recorded. I would like at this point to welcome any members of the public and press to today's meeting. Can I kindly ask you to observe the meeting only, as you are not allowed to speak or participate in the meeting. Could I ask colleagues to ensure that phones are switched to silent for the duration of the meeting? And I also refer you to the protocols for remote meetings, which have been previously highlighted. I'm going to go through a roll call, but when I ask Jane to do the roll call, could I ask members to indicate whether they have any declarations of interest at the same time, please? So, Jane.
Thank you, Chair. Mark, you was present. Have you got any declarations of interest?
No.
Councillor Carl Clement Williams?
Yes, I'm here, Jane, and I have no declarations.
Councillor Harvey?
Yeah, I'm present, Jane. I have declaration of interest, item 6, draft budget. In appendix 1 on page 186 mentions CCTV, and obviously I'm involved with that. I work for South Wales Police. Thank you.
Councillor Doreen Jones?
I'm here, Chloe. Oh, Jane, sorry.
It's okay, it's all right. Any declarations of
I've got
interest?
no declarations.
Councillor Leanne Jones?
Present, no declarations.
Councillor Lockyer?
Present, Jane, no declarations.
Councillor Rees?
Present, Jane, no declarations.
Councillor Richards?
Present, Jane, no declarations.
Councillor Wingrave?
Present, Jane, no declarations.
Councillor Rahman?
Present, Jane.
No, any declarations of interest?
Oh, sorry, no, there's no declaration of interest.
Councillor Freegard?
Present, Jane, no declarations.
I will now go on to officers. Karen Jones?
Present.
Nicola Pearce? Nicola Pearce?
I think Nicola's gone to another meeting, Jane.
Andrew Thomas? Andrew Jarrett?
Yeah, present.
Hugh Jones?
Yeah, I'm present, Jane.
Nicola Blackmore?
Present, Jane.
Nita James?
Present, Jane.
Fiona Claypool?
Present.
Chloe Plowman?
Present.
Craig Griffiths?
Present, Jane.
Can I just confirm, is Andrew Thomas here? Yes, I can see you here, Andrew. Are there any other officers present who are participating in today's meeting here that I haven't called?
Hi, Jane, it's Sean. I'm here. I was just called into the meeting. I'm not sure if I'm required today.
No, Sean, you're not.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Right, Chair, the roll call has been complete.
Okay, thanks, Jane. Next item on the agenda, item 3, Chair's announcements. I haven't got any announcements, but I've just realised it was remiss of me, as this is the first meeting of the new year. Can I just wish every single one of you a very happy and prosperous new year? Thank you. Item 4 on the agenda, declaration of interest, we've already done that. Item 5 on the agenda, a corporate plan for 2022 through to 2027, recover, reset, renew. Pages 3 to 172 on the agenda pack, and it's here for decision. Karen, anything to add? Any officers, anything to add?
I think, Chair, the recommendation of the Scrutiny Committee was that we amend the introductory section. So I'm looking at page 12 on the circulated report. And what I'm proposing is that I put a sentence in the beginning of the second paragraph there to make it clear that on the back of 11 years or 12 years of austerity, we've also now got the impact of COVID recovery, which is providing the context for the proposals that are set out in the plan. So if the Cabinet members are content with that, in terms of getting a draft out to consultation, it'll need to be translated obviously as well. But that's what I understood the Scrutiny Committee were asking us to do.
Okay, thanks, Karen. Any questions of any colleagues? Okay. So I refer colleagues to the recommendations on page 8, appendices 1 to 5, including the integrated impact assessment, and that includes the wording that Karen has just outlined to us. So before I move the recommendations, Councillor Rahman, as scrutiny chairperson, are you in support of the immediate implementation of the decision?
Yes, Leader, I'm in support.
Okay, thanks, I appreciate that. So I'll move, if I could have a seconder, please.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so just to remind colleagues that if you do not indicate to the contrary, that we're all okay with this? I don't see anything, Jane, okay?
Chair.
Okay, so that's been...
If I could remind members, Chair, that it is on the amended recommendation that Karen has read out.
Okay, thank you for that.
No, there we are, thank you.
Okay, thanks. So next item, agenda 6, is the draft budget for consultation 22-23, pages 173 to 188 of the agenda pack. Hugh, anything further?
No, nothing to add. Thank you, Leader. No, the recommendations are there. I read them out in the scrutiny committee, so I'm happy. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks very much. Before I go on to questions, Karen, could I just make an observation? I was a little bit uncomfortable during scrutiny. Hugh, in all fairness to him, tried to nip it in the bud when he first started talking. He's been very lucky this year, as he acknowledged, and what Howell has done previously, he could only play the cards that he was dealt. And I thought I was a little bit uncomfortable where they were comparing Hugh to Howell, and there was, you know, some reference to sort of personalities and different ways of working. This is a public meeting, and I'm sure if Howell picked that up, if I had picked it up, I wouldn't have been too happy about it. I don't know whether we can do anything about that, but it did sit a little bit uncomfortable with me that they were comparing what we've all had to put up with, Hugh included himself, over the past 5-10 years, and now today is a different budget that we were discussing.
I think, Leader, what I would say in relation to that is that we had the budget debate for 2021-2022 last year. We really shouldn't be focusing on decisions we made last year when we set in the current year's budget. We're in a very, very different situation. The proposals that were put forward for consideration last year were examined by Howell and the finance team last year, and advice was given to the Cabinet that it would not be prudent last year to depart from the strategy that had been put before you. So without rehearsing that very long meeting that we had in Council last year, and what you had last year was the best advice that officers could give you at the time. I think what we've got to be very clear about is that we're operating in an extremely volatile situation. There is a great deal of uncertainty still in the system. And the reason why Hugh has been able to give the advice he's given this year is because the Welsh Government has decided to give local government obviously priority within its settlement. The other point I'd make in relation to some of the points that were made in scrutiny as well, now is not the time to have a debate about rebasing the Council's budget. We are in the middle of a very significant fourth wave of Omicron. The time to have a debate about whether we're allocating proportionately more to social services or environment or any other budgets would be the time that we bring forward the medium-term financial plan. What we've got to concentrate on now is setting the budget for next year. And the advice before members is the best advice that officers can give. And I'll reflect with Craig on the nature of the debate, but that's probably all that I would want to say by way of response to you at this point in time.
No, that's fine, Karen. I completely understand that. I just felt a little bit uncomfortable with the way that, shall we say, Howell was spoken about, as if Hugh was coming with a totally different attitude, which I know it isn't. And Hugh himself said he was lucky that he worked with a budget that he's got. Howell had to work with a budget he had as well, didn't he? So that's the only point I was making. And that's not being detrimental to Hugh, certainly not to Hugh. I just felt a bit uncomfortable with some of the comments made by scrutiny members about Howell. That's all. Peter, you got your hand up?
Yeah, I'm glad you raised that point, Leader, because I thought the debate in scrutiny went on far too long and you know, was digging up old issues which we debated last year, particularly about reserves, etc., etc. But I'm glad you raised that point because I think it is a valid point. And the other issue I wanted to make, Leader, was the fact that it was interesting to me to hear members looking to raise a 1% council tax when we are proposing a 0%. And I just wondered where we go in that kind of debate. Thank you, Leader.
I thought they were trying to reduce it by 1% as opposed to raise it. I think they wanted to go the other way, didn't they? That they wanted to take an actual 1% off what is current. Hugh, do you want to come in on that one?
Yeah, yeah, that's what some of the debates surrounded, Leader, was whether we could actually cut the council tax by 1% next year. But as I said in the meeting, my advice is that that's not a prudent and sustainable strategy, so we shouldn't. Also, in terms just around the Howell issue, Leader, I did try and frame my answer in the context that I'm operating in a different financial position to my predecessor. So
yeah, no, Hugh, I wasn't having a go at you.
No, I know that.
And you know, I was grateful for your comments at the beginning where you said that you've been lucky that you had it. I just thought some of the comments from members of the scrutiny committee about Howell weren't appropriate. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay, thank you.
Right, thanks, Hugh. Mike, did you want to come in?
Yeah, thanks, Leader. I agree with the comments about Mr. Jenkins. He was you're an excellent Director of Finance, and we're lucky now that we've got Hugh carrying on following him. And that was a bit off in respect of council tax increase. Again, I go with Hugh's advice on this for, we don't know what's ahead over the next 2 years, but no way are we going to get as much as we have this year. And I say for 4 years previous to this, we've had the second lowest increase in Wales, and we've done all we can as a council to keep council tax as low as we can, and now to go out at 0% this year is really good news and is sensible. So I fully support that proposal, and everything is in the budget really. So thank you, and thanks to Hugh and his team for the work. Thank you, Leader.
Thanks, Mike. I know Carol wants to come in and she sort of summed up the debate in scrutiny, but I want to thank you, Hugh, and your team. Obviously, I mean, it's a tremendous budget, and I can't fault you for it. Well, nobody will. It's absolutely superb. My only one question where I got a little bit confused. I thought that we were taking individual, you know that list that we had in CMB and what have you about where we could put additional money into different areas. I thought they were going to individual cabinet scrutinies, or have I misinterpreted what was said in scrutiny?
No, you're correct, Leader. That what we'll be asking the Cabinet to approve in the budget in February is indicative allocations for those investment areas. And if Cabinet then approve them in February, in the new year, individual Cabinet boards will be asked to agree specific projects out of those allocations. Right. So you are correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's fine. Carol?
Yes, thank you, Leader. Yeah, I just wanted to thank Hugh as well. I think he handled that really well today. I too felt very uncomfortable at some of the things that were being said during as well as you and my other colleagues. It's a bit of a low deep shot. But I wanted to thank Hugh, Karen, all the chief officers and everyone else involved. I think it's a very, very nice place to be, but moving forward, we'll still have our challenges, so we need to remain prudent. However, as always, we will look at the response to the consultation, and we will have a look to see what the feedback is on council tax. And as always, I will discuss it thoroughly with Hugh, Karen, the leader, deputy leader. And, you know, so the final decisions haven't been made. As always, it's a consultation, and then we will see what happens when it all comes back. Thank you, leader.
Okay, thanks, Karen. Okay, any other? I don't see any other indications. Anybody, any questions? No. Okay, so I'll refer colleagues to the recommendation on page 183 and appendices 1 and 2 of the report. Again, Saif as Chair of Scrutiny, are you happy for immediate implementation?
Yes, Leader, I am.
Okay, thank you very much. In that case then, I propose the recommendations. Could I have a second, please?
I'll second, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, as in the previous item, if everybody's okay with it, unless you...
There's no indications to the contrary,
Okay,
Chair, so
thank you
the
very much.
item's been approved.
So that's been approved. Okay, thanks. So item 7 is urgent items. I don't have any urgent items, so that ends today's business. Are we going to have a 5-minute